Do you think that normal that Steve Guttenberg is the reference for audiophiles when, in my opinion, this guy is paid by the brands he reviews? Um, so Steve Guttenberg, obviously I met with him at a show. He was really nice to me. We talked for quite some time. He's got a good thing going. I mean, the guy has, I believe, 200,000 subs. I mean, the guy is doing something right. And people love what he does. They love his content. He has a lot of people who believe in his work. And to be honest with you, when he's more successful at this than I am, I'm nobody to criticize him. I just believe his demographic is different than mine. I'm not here to hate on others that are doing better things than I am. Clearly he's ahead of me, and so who am I to critique him? Nobody. But I also don't think that my buyers, my viewers, care for a lot of what he covers. A lot of my viewers don't care to know that there is a new $500 bookshelf speaker. That's the truth. Okay. A lot of my viewers come to see the craziness. A lot of my viewers come to see the Rolexes. They don't want to see fossil watches. A lot of my viewers come to see the, creme de la creme, right? When it comes to audio. That's the truth. And so he's doing his thing, and I respect him for that. I'm doing mine. Is he the Bible when it comes to audio? No, I don't think so. I think he might be that with the brands he's doing. And as far as whether he's getting paid or not, it's a tough conversation, to be honest with you. I have been offered money in the past to review components. I'm not gonna lie, okay, but I have never reviewed any. But I've been offered the opportunity to collect a payday for reviewing something. And my observations with regards to this, were always the same, which is I have to believe in the product. I have to be blown away by it. Okay, I get product pitched at me all the time. Brands want to enter here all the time. Brands that are ultra high end brands. Okay. And the reason why sometimes I turn them down is not personal. It's not because I hate them. None of that. It's because I am never going to feel passionate about a product that I don't really believe in. Right. So if they were to send me something, the first thing I say is, I'm not putting any videos, I'm not making any YouTube content at all with what you're sending me. I will evaluate it, give you my opinion, and then we'll take it from there. The moment I say that, it seems as if they don't really want to be part or participate in what I'm doing anymore, because they feel like, oh, this dude is not going to review us. Why are we going to send them a product? So that is how I end up buying the product with my own money, because I either find it on the used market, I locate it somewhere else, somebody made a phone call and contacted me, and I end up getting my hands on it, reviewing it, and at that point I don't have to be on a leash to only say the things that the brand may want me to say. Now, I'm not saying that's the case for Steve Guttenberg at all. I'm not saying that's what he's doing. But what I am saying is, in this hobby, just like in any other hobby or industry, those are practices that are common, where they send you product, they give you a payday, you make some money, and you make the product shine and make it sound like it is your next reference piece. That is not abnormal in any industry. I'm sure the car industry is probably the same. So, unfortunately, you don't really know who to trust anymore. And that's sad, but that's the world we live in today. Which speaker do you feel was the worst speaker that I had in my room at that time, but you feel maybe it would be better now? I think the M6, I think the Magical M6 is the speaker that right now would shine in ways that I never made it shine, because of the electronics that I had at that point in time were not at the caliber of the M6. So the M6 would be that speaker right now that would certainly do better things than it did while it was here in my possession. What do I think about some YouTube channels promoting the opinion that network switches are not worth it? Well, I mean, as I said earlier, it's all system dependent, right? So if your system isn't resolving, if your system isn't well designed, if you don't have a tight foundation, you can't expect for a network switch or an Ethernet cable, for that matter, to blow your socks off. Okay. Now, I don't expect for a network switch to have the same profound effect that, let's say, a power cord behind your DAC would. I don't expect it, but I do expect it to improve the system some, lower the noise, give you greater resolution, which should be apparent. But I think people have this misconception that if you buy a network switch, it better blow you away the way your cable swap did, or else it isn't worth the money. I'm going to tell you that is stupid, okay? Because not every component is going to give you the same improvements. Some components may add another 3%, 5%, while others are going to give you 10, 20%, okay? So I just feel like sometimes people are not in their right mind when they see that they buy a component and they feel that this component made a drastic difference, and then the next one made a little bit of a difference. But that's how it should be. Not everything is going to give you the same improvement. Personally, I think network switches have been phenomenal for me. I feel that a nicely clean network setup is one of the most important things you can do when you're streaming music. I feel that if you're using a regular Blue Sound device connected into the wall with a crappy Ethernet cable, is never going to tell you the reality or the truth of what is possible with streaming. You're never going to get to hear the streaming in its full glory. You won't. Some people believe that if you have a streaming device like a Blue Sound and you feed it to your DAC, it's going to do the same job as if you had a quality Lumen DAC that's 10 grand, Lumen streamer, excuse me, that's 10 grand, or an render that's 10 grand, because at the end of the day, it's just a streamer that's feeding a signal, USB signal, into the back of your DAC. So the DAC is just taking that signal and running with it. No, folks, it doesn't work that way. No Blue Sound can compare to a render as far as a music server or a renderer of streaming services. Okay, no, it doesn't work. Or if you bought the little Rune, whatever they call it, Nucleus, whatever it is, right? No, folks, it doesn't matter. It doesn't compare to a real streaming device. Again, there are levels to this, and I want to tell you the opposite. Trust me, I want to come out and tell you, get rid of this component. Buy this for 5% of the money and forget about the other component. Put the money in the bank. But I haven't found that. I haven't been able to find those components that make vast improvements for pennies on the dollar. The Luxman CL1000 tube preamplifier with the transformer volume control. Look, the only knock on that preamplifier, it has no volume, no remote control. You have to get up and change volume all the time, and I am not about to do that. So that's my only knock with that preamplifier. And my issue with that preamplifier is the fact that when you're streaming, in case you haven't noticed, every song is recorded at a different volume level. Every single song is recorded at a different volume level. Why? Because there is no standard when it comes to recording. When it comes to recording music, there is no standards. There is no set decibel levels that all music studios or recording studios follow. And so when they record at whatever volume they feel like recording. So imagine having to get up every time you change a song to accommodate that volume control. It's too painful. That doesn't mean the component sounds bad. That doesn't mean the component is no good. That's not what I'm saying. But the inconvenience factor to me with this Luxman CL1000 is too high. I think for me, I'd rather look elsewhere. I don't believe that Luxman did not include a remote because they felt like if they had a remote, it was going to kill the performance of the preamplifier. Listen, come on. Really? Come on. This is a great question. What was the first audio component that you bought where, in your opinion, you said, now I have my first ultra hi-fi components? What would that be? You know what? I would say the first speaker, it would be the Wilson Audio Sasha 2, which later on I found out it's not very good. Okay. Now, of course, years later, I found out it's not a good speaker at all. But it was the Wilson Audio Sasha 2, the one speaker that taught me that there were levels to this. Okay, there is so many levels to this, and I think that's where I started to go from there. That's when I understood that I was entering a new dimension that I had never explored before. And once I started getting into the Sasha, I started looking at audio research. I started looking at Constellation, and I kept going on and on and on from there. Eventually, bought the Martin Logan Neoliths. So yeah, that would be the first one, the Sasha 2. Great question, Mark. Do you ever get the feeling that you're doing just too much for too little? Oh boy. Mark, I feel that way every day. Every day, Mark, I feel that way. Every day, I feel as if I'm doing so much and the return isn't as big. But there's a part of me in my head that says Rome was not built in a day. And you're not going to see the rewards of your benefit of your you're not going to see the fruits of your labor, excuse me, I should say, the fruits of my labor right away. And so I'm just putting all my eggs in one basket. I keep throwing money at it. I keep, pushing the envelope, trying to ramp up my production value. I keep trying to do bigger and greater things in the hope that one day it pays off. Okay. So every day I feel that I'm doing a lot of work for very little. No doubt. No doubt. I'm not going to turn into a wealthy man doing YouTube. That's not going to be my calling. I can tell you that right now because of what I do dealing with the ultra high end. Okay. For me to make a nice payday from YouTube, I have to have at least 100,000 subs. And in case you do not know, for you to have 100,000 subs, you got to be putting out content a lot more often than what I do. And I don't have the time to put out content as often as I should in order to ramp up my subscribership. If I did not have a job, if I didn't have a 9 to 5, I probably would do that because that would be my full-time job. Doing videos, shooting videos, getting out to people's homes to see their systems, doing cool type of content. I would come up with all kinds of things, podcasts, you name it, to really grow my brand. But it's a lot of work, so much work involved. So, yes, there is very little reward right now for the amount of work that I'm putting in, no doubt. And as far as dealing with difficult people, let me tell you, I meet those every day. And I am just the type of person that anyone here who's done business with me, they would know I don't want any drama. I don't want any issues. When you buy a product from me, anything that I have listed on my website, jaysaudiolab.com, okay, which check it out if you haven't. I have a lot of product there that's listed for sale. Let me say this, okay? I take pictures of the product. I turn it on and take a video before I ship it to the new buyer, new owner. I do everything to ensure that when I'm shipping you something that you're buying from me, you've seen videos and images. You've seen it work. So that way you don't get something that doesn't work for no reason. Okay. So I'm very, very detailed when it comes to what I do. And when I enter these transactions with difficult customers, difficult clients, that's when I know it's not worth the sale. And oftentimes I pass on selling stuff to people who are difficult because I'm far from that. I'm easygoing. I want to make sure you're happy when you buy something from me. I want to make sure that there's support after that. Like, hey, let's try this power cord now. Hey, let's try this XLR. Hey, let's try this because I've already done the work for you. So I do more things than you would know. The thing is, if you haven't done business with me, there's no way of you knowing what I can do for you if you were to buy any component from me. So I try to eliminate difficult customers. I don't want to deal with difficult customers. I rather keep the component on the floor collecting dust. I don't really need to sell it. I don't need to sell any of this. So I look for easy to deal customers all the time because I want to be happy and I want them to be happy.